Hello, hello. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope we share one thought, all of us together here, as we feel it, as passionate, and it is Guatemala is the land of opportunity. And we see that every day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Across all Guatemala, we harvest more or less 350,000 entrepreneurs that daily show us the meaning of resilience, the meaning of entrepreneurship. Today, we are very excited with our partners, Universidad Francisco Marroquín, to be part of this movement that is called EMpact. We are now in a world that changes every day. Technology is moving faster, but there's still many entrepreneurs that are not connected with technology, but they're connected with products. And we also want to harvest entrepreneurs that are engaged in creating innovative products that are not only suited for our country, but for export. And that is why the mission of EMpact is to create these ecosystems that will provide new ways for our entrepreneurs to grow. So I will leave you with my friends, Prateek Shrivastava and Sami Lahoud, who are have engineered this machine that will help us give our entrepreneurs better tools to grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Edgardo. Hello, everyone. How do you feel?
How do you really feel?
It's amazing to be here. My name is Sami Lahoud. This event, the Volcano Summit, opened with a half Lebanese guy, and I'm the real deal. I'm the full Lebanese guy. It's great to be here. It's fantastic. You know the headline of this session, but probably what lots of you do not know, you are witnessing a very special moment in history. You are witnessing the birth of a new baby, a labor of love, as Edgardo and I agreed to call it, that I've been working on for 56 years. You've been working on for
3 days.
We could tell from the video. It's very special to be here to the launch of EMpact. After this session, we are going live in a global press release announcement to announce the birth of a new baby that was conceived and created here first, and then going across the country, across the region, across frontier markets, and to other parts of the world.
Thank you for that. He's the real deal. He's Lebanese. I'm the real deal. I'm Indian. We're here from different parts of the world, physically in Guatemala, thanks to, where's Janma? Thank you so much for having us. It's been brilliant. What an event. So, what's EMpact? It's something different, but something you have seen sort of before also. So, like you saw earlier on the little video we had, we're using the term venture studio. A venture studio is sort of a newer design of how to de-risk innovation. Innovation, entrepreneurs, we love, and I've been there before myself a few times around the world, from Indonesia to Nigeria, did stuff in Australia, also in the UK, and now here. So being an entrepreneur is tricky. How do you find the funding? How do you find customers? How do you make sure your product fit is right? So a venture studio is 5 years old. And we'll talk about what that is really. So Sami, what is a venture studio?
I'll tell you that in a second, but let's stay with the personal for a moment to help you appreciate the significance of this moment. I see a couple of people with tears in their eyes, and I know why, because we've been working very hard for this moment. But my partner, Prateek, has launched 7 businesses. He's had an amazing career. across every continent. In none of the big moments of his life, he invited the very special guest we have with us here tonight.
My dad decided to join us. Thank you very much. Thank you. With that,
back to your question.
What is EMpact?
Before launching EMpact, I started in Lebanon. I started at the base of the pyramid in war and poverty and whatever comes with that. So being here today is not something I could even dream about. It's way beyond my dreaming capacity. But with lots of hard work, education, and luck, and I'll come back to those in a moment, I'm here today. I had a very fascinating global career in many parts of the world, in many industries, companies like Boeing and Barclays and MasterCard, and shout out to MasterCard right here. The reason I mentioned MasterCard, for the past 10 years, I've had a great career with them in many parts of the world. But you talk about the four-party model, and here we talk about the partner model.
There you go.
And this is one of the unique characteristics of the EMpact machine, who, by the way, stands for, it sounds like impact, but it's spelled with an E, EMpact. And it stands for?
Enterprise entrepreneur mindset. We heard this yesterday, but?
It's our pact with emerging markets. What countries like Guatemala, and where I'm coming from, Cote d'Ivoire, Costa de Marfil, I used to live in New York for 10 years, and then recently I moved my family to a frontier market. What frontier markets all have in common is that they have a huge potential to become emerging markets. They just need a little push. And that's what we're trying to do. EMpact stands for our pact with emerging markets. Back to the four-partner model, if you want.
Absolutely. So what we try to do, going back to the point I made earlier, that when you start a new company, you have an idea. You say, this would be brilliant. Let's find it. Who would have thought Steve Jobs would have done a focus group on the iPhone? Of course not. He said, let's do it, and they will come. Eventually, everybody came. But it's difficult for everybody to find the customer and the product fit. So what we're doing is trying to create a machine that enables innovation to happen in a slightly more structured way. We're not structuring the innovation process, but creating an envelope around it. So the four partners are corporate partners. We invite corporate partners to come and work with the EMpact machine. We'll talk about that, where we're doing it with University Francisco Marroquin and Genesis in a second. We invite corporate partners to say, is there a problem you want to solve? Come and we'll help you innovate against that problem. And we'll make that happen. Some of those problems require technology. Some of them don't. It could be an app, it could be data, it could be a physical object, which will the creator economy, if you like. You'll hear about that more in Edgardo's speech later this afternoon. So that's where we partner technology companies. With the technology companies, people have to understand how the platforms work, how they actually interconnect, how to use cloud services, how to use a solution on agri-businesses and value chains. How do you make that work? That's where we work with capacity building partners. University Francisco Marroquin, shout out to them. They are our launch capacity building partner, based here in Antigua and a satellite in Guatemala City. Finally, we have funding partners. We help mobilize money with grants at a global level, with an equity from a global level, and debt as well, in case that's needed. All this is very interesting, but how does it work?
So the way it works is that we do not, it's absolutely fine for some people to take bets on companies or startups or solutions or ideas. That is not what we do. We do not create a solution and go shop for a problem that fits the solution. We look for problems in the real world, in the real economy, with focus on the agriculture value chain, and we'll tell you more about why in a second. And we start with the very beginning. The very beginning is taking bets on people, on young people, on women, on people who think differently from us. I told you where I started, very humble beginnings. And I told you there was education, hard work, and luck. So I'm coming back to that. We want to try to equalize for luck. Many people are much smarter than me and have much higher degrees than me, but they haven't found someone who takes a bet on them, who pushes them, who takes them out of their comfort zone. So we start with the talent incubation. We take people we've both lucky, have had global careers, interacted, in your case, with queens. That's true, by the way.
Let's not go there.
That is true.
Let's not go there.
In my case, with kings.
Yes.
I did live in Saudi Arabia and Dubai. So we take our global careers and our experience, and we take young people coming out of these frontier markets, out of Guatemala, out of Antigua, out of Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Kazakhstan, these markets, and we do a talent incubation machine to upskill them, to do capacity building in partnership with UFM University here, at a global level with universities like NYU, New York University, and in every local market, the big capacity building partners over there. So talent incubation first. If you have a wonderful idea and you want to create a company, we take you, but we tell you, hold on the idea. Hold on. Let's start with the capacity building and the training. And then we graduate into a business incubator, whereby the magic starts happening. We start bringing our corporate partners with their problems and their needs and their wants in their markets at a global level to start meeting the local talent, and we start helping them design these solutions. And then the last part of this graduation journey is where it's a business accelerator. We extend pre-seed capital to the fellows. We start putting them together to form a company. We help them with all they need to form a company, and then we handhold them for a period of up to 5 years where we open doors for them. We find them a corporate sponsor. We help them with their pitch decks and help them raise more money and start slowly and lovingly handing them over to people with bigger checks who can take them to the next level.
Absolutely. So the reason we've been doing this way is because, number one, talent is more difficult to find than money. We can find money in many ways, and we know this. But imagine finding that perfect person or who understands the problem, who understands the challenge in the economy, connecting them together, building a core team that becomes the founding team. So we want to create it, but also there's another way. We don't always have to go this way, which might take years. It could be that there is an existing machine, an existing startup, another technology, another solution, another part of the world, or here, that can work on the problem from the corporate. So I'll give you an example. If there is a corporate that says, hey, I would love to understand how to help my farmers sell internationally, directly, some of the products they do. We're focusing on agricultural value chains. So how do we make that happen? So we could say, well, there is a great platform in the country already, or in Mexico, or in Uganda, or in Ethiopia, or in India. Bring them here, and they'll say, great, we don't speak Spanish. Like, I don't, apologies. Or I speak a little bit. Edgardo keeps making fun of my Spanish for the past 8 years, so, which is good. So imagine bringing that technology here, and people say, we don't have the Spanish. What do? So we build a talent machine around that product. And that product now becomes the local franchise for that technology. So imagine the other way. You have a Guatemalan company. We met some amazing people today, and over the past few weeks and months, taking them from here to Uganda, to Ethiopia, to India, giving you an on-ramp to the world through EMpact. So we bridge the world both ways. So we can take you, your startups, and take you to Africa and Asia and Eastern Europe. That's the machine we're building at a global level. So why would anybody do this? Why would a corporate talk to us? We're middle-aged guys. We use cycle more than I do.
Much more.
Much more. I try to catch up with him. But two guys sitting in the middle of Washington, D.C., in Abidjan. Why us?
We did not wake up one day and decided to be in this. It was a natural, organic journey. We met when I was working for a big global company, I already mentioned, MasterCard, and he was working for another big global social impact group.
Axion.
So we represented our companies, and we did lots of magic together around the world. It started, it's funny, we're here in Guatemala. It started with coffee. You made me coffee.
Started with coffee. He always makes me coffee. He expects me to make coffee with now.
Was it Guatemalan coffee?
It was, I think so, yes.
And we started building programs around financial inclusion. We had very hefty goals in that area, and partnering with global development institutions to go across emerging markets country by country by country and create systems that bring equitability across financial services and digital identity to the last mile, to the smallholder farmers, to the micro entrepreneurs, and create an inclusive society. Lots of hard work. It needed lots of collaboration. Many times I thought, what am I doing? Will this work? But that gave us the experience of doing what I call God's work, looking at big problems that cannot be solved by one person and one entity. It cannot be solved by throwing money at it or throwing technology at it, but it brings lots of collaborations. And this is a very important message to anybody who's doing startup incubation, acceleration, all that kind of stuff, VC firms. We're not here to compete with any of them.
We're not.
It's an ecosystem. We need everyone. We say in Africa, it takes a village, right, Kwasi? It takes a village, and we build collaborations. That's what we've been doing in our careers. And then organically, with the support of our organizations, we reached the conclusion that if we keep looking at the problem from up here, it looks different than it really is. We have to go down and build local solutions with local people, having local employment in critical value chains. And that's why we chose ag. Do you want to share a bit? Why did we choose agriculture and its importance, and some
I think you're on a roll.
Amazing statistics around it?
You are on a roll. Keep going.
Agriculture values. We live in a moment in time where the intersection of man and nature, something is wrong. With climate change, with the explosive growth of population, especially in some parts of the world, with food security concerns, with instability in many parts of the world. I mean, between us, how much did we know about Ukraine until the price of bread went up around the world? And people said, huh?
Ukraine.
Why is the price of bread going up? Because the wheat comes from Ukraine.
And where is Ukraine?
And where is Ukraine? Where I moved recently in Côte d'Ivoire, Costa de Marfil, did you know that they produce 45% of the cocoa in the world? But they receive 4% of the revenue of that cocoa. 45% production, 4% revenue. If something bad happens in this country, which I call now my country, you will know. You will all know where Côte d'Ivoire is in the map, because you cannot have your chocolate anymore. So ag value chains are very important. There are 600 million small farmers in the world. Mm-hmm. They produce a third of the world's food. If you add to them family businesses in agriculture, you're talking about 75% of the world's food. Guess who are the hungriest people in the world? If you want to fight world hunger, you want to focus on that statistic. 75% of the hungry people in the world today are farmers.
It is true.
They produce food for other people. They can only eat what they produce, but if they have to buy something else, like oil or bread or meat, mm-hmm. they cannot pay for it. Through creating businesses that address these problems and give more value. We're talking about value chains. The problem with value chains is most of the value is on the top of the chains, and in the bottom you're left with very little value across 1 billion people on the planet. So we want to try to fix that.
Absolutely. So what we've experienced in our careers is we have this very big and important problem to solve from the impact point of view. How can we make things more efficient? How can we make things accessible to everyone? But we cannot and do not want to ignore how to actually work with the bigger actors in the system. And when we spoke to many companies, we cannot name names today because they're part of our launch machine coming up soon. They are actually saying, look, we would love to work with another company, but there's nobody running the project for us. Can you run a project for us? Yes, we said, we're not going to run a project for you. We're going to help you solve the problem and let it run. Solve it. So that's where the big role of corporates is. And the corporates doesn't mean the global ones we're talking about. We're talking about the regional and domestic ones as well, who are very critical to everything. So they say to us, I've been in the rooms myself. Both of us were part of a program from the White House, from our respective previous organizations, supporting the creation of that strategy and the rest of it. And not much really moved in the speed at which it's moving, but not at the speed at which it could move. So what went wrong? Well, each of the partners were looking at each other and saying, you do it. No, you do it. Okay. EMpact comes in the middle. We'll bridge the two connections. We'll make the two things happen. So it could be a producer. Could be a logistics company. It could be a fertilizer company. We connect the dots and we innovate one solution. And that solution becomes the startup that then spins off, which we then help with investments. So for the corporate, we can help them attract entrepreneurial talent. We can help them get access to innovation because managers who are brilliant are managers of the existing. 10% of investment goes into innovation in any organization because the shareholders expect you to keep returning things. So we can help them innovate. So in my previous life, and my colleagues are here, ex-colleagues I should say, we helped design an entire innovation hub in Bolivia for one of the largest banks in the country. So this kind of thing. So how do you bring it together? Innovation is important. We can help them do that through this machine. We can help minimize the disruption within the organization. So the great benefits to the corporate organizations. Then for the technology partners, they get access to talent in the local countries. And of course, for the capacity building partners to get a play in the action. All this is great, but how is it funded? All this is wonderful, but how do you make money? How does this work?
How do we make money?
How does everybody make money?
We are focused on impact, on inclusion, on identity, on dignity, on growth, on prosperity. But for any of this to work, we have found out through our global careers, if you give grants, if you do not teach people how to fish and give them a net and instead give them a fish, they'll come back the second day and ask for a fish. So it has to be sustainable. For it to be sustainable, everything that we do across this creation machine has to be, no shame in this, making money for everybody. For the small farmer, for the small business, for every player across the value chain, and for us as an entity and for our sponsors, for sure. However, our biggest challenge has not been funding. Lots of the incubators and VC funds out there that are created with very, very great purposes, their biggest problem is raising funds. We started from the other way around. Because of our relationships with the sources of capital over the span of our careers, they are the ones who told us, we need your help. We have funding for big problems affecting our planet and society, but on the receiving end of it, in frontier markets, the projects are too small.
Yep.
Or not sustainable, or not fundable, or we don't have people who can speak English and fill the application. That became a problem. So the need was to have EMpact. EMpact is a need. If you feel the rumblings, it's not the volcano. What we're creating together here today is a need in the world, because we're sitting in the middle between the global funding partners, the global corporate partners, the global technology partners, and the global and local capacity building partners. And we are helping be the person who handholds on this side and handholds on this side and connect and let the magic happen. But why don't you, Prateek, give a specific example? What kind of solutions can our startup solve across the ag value chain? Do we give people tractors and help them raise more crop, or what do we do?
And so a couple of examples could be a company comes and says to us, hey, we would love to be able to increase the efficiency of the field, by having machines, tractors, that help farmers till their soil faster or whatever. Imagine every farmer affording a tractor. It's not possible. There's a company in Africa called Hello Tractor. What they've done is an Uber of tractors. So you have people who have tractors. You can buy the tractors and say, I want it on Friday morning. I will return it a week later on Friday. Can I rent it? They deliver the tractor. And the farmer uses it and gives it back. That exists. Okay, we bring that machine here, the app. Here, we can take the Guatemalan solutions and take it international. So I want to leave you with a couple of thoughts very quickly. So if you're an existing startup, an existing growing business, and you want to go international, come and talk to us. We can help you go to other parts of the world. Through these machines we're building, next one launches within 6 months in Africa. Hopefully another one 6 months after that in East Asia as well, and Central Asia. So, but what makes us different is we are trying to do a few things. We're trying to build, and we're creating partnerships. We're not competing with anybody, like Sami said. We create partnerships. That's a big thing. We want to scale impact to make a difference in the world. We want to make sure it's done through sustainable business creation for everyone. We want to make sure that it's done in those markets that are not necessarily part of a regular investor pack. People go to India, Nigeria, they go to Brazil, Mexico, of course. Not many people go many other places, especially these days. So how do we do that? Frontier markets. So that we can serve critical value chains that impact the universe's needs, if you like. And our launch partners are, thank you very much, Genesis, and Universidad Francisco Marroquín. Thank you so much.
And the powers vested in me as a co-founder with this guy, I now announce EMpact is born.
Guatemala is open. Come and build something special with us. Thank you so much.